Hey everyone, welcome to a little bit of woo woo. This episode is sponsored by anxiety. I bet you have some. We all have some right now. Just a couple of days before the election. If you're not already anxious, you will be soon. And you shouldn't be because I feel like everything's going to be okay. I also do feel like it might take a little while. I got a guest here. I'm so excited. You guys have seen her before. Shamanic Astrologer and a practitioner of all things woo woo. Mara Clearspring Cook is here to tell us a little bit about kind of what's going on. We're also going to talk some about the war energy. I know that's war energy. What? There's an election coming. How are we talking about anything else? We'll talk about a few things. We're going to cover some ground. This is being recorded. To be clear, this is being recorded on October 30th at 10:30 Pacific, 10:30 a.m. Pacific. So, Mara, tell us what's pressing. What's on your mind? Anything going on?
Oh, just a few things, Jill. Just a few things. I think that the folks in your audience just look so forward to your predictions and then your interpretations of what's happening on the financial markets, on the politics, and just what to expect coming up. So when I come to visit you, those are the things that come to my mind,
That's fair.
which I don't profess an expertise like I think you're closer to, but I do, as a shamanic practitioner, I listen to more than people. I listen to the stars, the stones, the planets, the nature spirits, Mother Earth, Father Sky, all that good stuff. And then I kind of put that together in a way that I hope is helpful for people at the individual level. Because right now, each person is like, the guides are showing me a picture right now of, imagine when they were dragging all the stones to build the pyramids in Egypt. And they had all these great big rollers and these huge blocks of massive tons of sandstone or whatever it is they made them out of. And there's all these people pushing and pulling. And we are all those little people trying to make sense of this huge weight of what's going on around us. Does that make sense?
Totally. Wasn't aliens? I watched the ancient alien show. I thought it was aliens. That's
Well,
not
it
a
all
History
depends
Channel
on the
show.
timeline.
That's not a history episode.
Maybe it's something in between.
There you go. There you
Yeah,
go.
it's really fun to
I
go
love
there
that
with the whole
show.
aliens, and they made
Yes.
the pyramids and stuff. But if they did that, why did they stop?
Right.
Why did they
I
stop?
I
Ah,
I have mixed feelings on it because I love that stuff. There's a part of me
me
just loves
too.
to think that it's all built by aliens. The other part of me is like, humans can do a lot of stuff when we try, and just because we
We
don't
sure did.
understand how they did it doesn't mean it was done by aliens. But anyway,
And it
that's
doesn't
just
mean that there
me.
was a technology then that we since lost.
There you go. Absolutely.
Which
Oh,
is
we used
kind
to
of
know how
how
to
I
do
look
that.
at it.
Yeah.
We should do another episode on this one day because we could both go off on the wild hair ideas that have come to our mind because there's a lot of good stuff on that.
True.
Let's put that in, make a note. Make a note. Let's do
Okay.
that another time.
That'd be
So
way
right
more
now,
fun than the election.
are you sick of the election? I'm sick of
Yes.
the election. You're sick of the election. You're sick of the election. You're sick of the, everybody's sick of the election.
And
And
it's
why
not
shouldn't
over.
we be? This has been
Not even close.
ridiculous.
Yeah, not even close to
Yeah.
being over.
So no, well, no, here's the thing. When the election's not over on November 5th. And that's what
There you
people
go.
need to understand. And when I'm talking about war energy, you could say between countries, but I'm going to say within ourselves. We all, most people who watch this, I assume, are in the United States or expats. And we all chose to be incarnated here in this country, live in this country, whether we're born here or not. We're living in this country under this construct of a country. And so we're all deeply connected to the fate of the United States of America. And right now, as we are still shivering through our Pluto return, which actually happened around the time of the 2020 election and moving through till now. But Pluto moves so slowly, Jill, that it affects us over a wide period of time. And a Pluto return, a person never has, because it takes over 240 years for Pluto to come back to the same spot, which is what a return is. But we've been shivering under it, massively changing, because Pluto does that. Pluto transforms by taking things apart so you can put them back together again. And that that's what's happening right now, because there's a double whammy. Pluto's at the end of Capricorn. It's been retrograde. It's starting to move forward again, but it's in what we call the anaretic degree of Capricorn, which is the crisis point. And Capricorn's all about all this organization, all this hierarchy, all our financial institutions, all of the ways that we take for granted that our foundation is made. And we've watched it through this election cycle get substantively and it just constantly degraded, taken apart, destroyed, ground down. Trust is this big right now.
Totally.
We have
Totally.
too much trust right now.
Both parties, by the way. I think both parties feel that way. So I that is not a Democrat or Republican thing right now.
No,
We don't
I
have a
don't
lot
even
of
want to be
trust in
Democrat
government.
or Republican in this
I'm the
discussion.
same way. I feel the same way. You know, I voted with one party on some issues and I voted with the other party on other issues. And I have no trouble saying Trump is not my guy, but I'm not entirely with the Democrats on it, particularly the financial stuff. And, you know, if you're watching this and you disagree with me, we can disagree and still be friends. That's okay with me. So
Yeah,
there you go.
I'm all about that. We can't have our friendships based on our politics.
Oh, it's so stupid.
It's really dumb. And really, it's surrendering to a media construct.
100%. 100%. This is the
just
media's
like
political game. 100%.
how high hemlines are supposed to be and what color you're supposed to paint your house. This is all bull. It is all
Totally.
bull. It is chewed away at actual real core values. And that's what this is all about. If we can just step back from the hullabaloo and all the, if you're watching a lot of social media and you're getting drawn into the drama and the sensationalism, you're being hijacked.
There you go. Get your cat.
That's
hug
right.
Your cat. Hug your dogs. Hug your cat.
Yeah.
And just let it go, because it is a game. We're watching a movie. It's very staged. I was watching a speech by somebody I would have voted for if he was in my district, and I thought, oh, they carefully crafted every word of what he said, you know, and used a lot of NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, in the speech. I recognize that because as a hypnotherapist, I see it. And I'm just thinking, this is very manipulative how they worded it. Having said that, I agreed with his message, but you're absolutely right. This is the media situation. Having said that, what is there? You know, is there anything about this election that's going to happen in a couple of days? I mean, I've already voted, so a lot of people have. What should we expect in terms of the energy? Anything in the stars that you can relate, that you can share with us on that?
And that's a great question. I'm glad you asked that one, because that would be one of the ones I would have sent to you if I'd had a chance to this morning. So
we're all busy.
we're all busy handling life. Please be very busy handling your personal life.
Totally. Play with your cats, play with your dogs. Yeah.
Yes.
Buy some healthy food.
Relationship is the most important part of human value. When we pass, that's the thing that most people talk about as they get towards the end is, I wish I'd done this or that differently in a relationship. Anyway, and really, for this election cycle, as it reaches a particular climax on the 5th, expect the unexpected. I mean, that is in play right now. It's super builds with the new moon on the 1st. Okay, so November 1st, expect unexpected revelations, truths, claims, actions, weird ass things. Can I say that? Weird ass thing.
Yeah, no, I think you can. I think it applies.
On the 2nd, Mars, the planet of war, opposes Pluto, as I spoke to earlier, the planet of let's change everything by taking it all down. They are opposite each other in the sky. Mars in Cancer, Pluto in Capricorn. They're both at the very end of both signs, so they're both at crisis degrees. Jill, this is playing right now and right through the election and further. And it will actually peak again right around the time of the inauguration. So it's like this conflict energy. What should we expect? A lot of BS being just spit out all over the place, a lot of misinformation, weird things happening. And the best thing you can do, did you vote? Good, you voted. Step back, because nothing is going to get decided on November 5th. There's too
Absolutely.
much going on. Do you
I
have, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I was seeing, intuitively, some intimidation, people, like, being around the poll stations trying to intimidate persons of color, from voting, and I would just encourage everyone to adopt the pronouns "try" and "me" when they're being intimidated by someone like that, and just, do it anyway, especially the young people. I think that's what they think, that they're gonna be able to scare those people off the most. I don't care who you vote for, but you can't let anybody take your right to choose away from you, and that's kind of what this election is about in a lot of ways.
I like that you said that. That is an important focus for us to have. Choice. Live in your right to choose. Choose what you watch, choose who you vote for, choose how you support what you believe in your life, choose with your money, choose with how you spend your time, and choose to vote. Please vote, 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 vote. And yes, on the election day, before and after, I do think there'll be, of course, a lot of intimidation, and like I said, weird things happening. We've already heard about some ballot boxes being incinerated, burned.
Yeah, and that was
Like,
not too far from where I live, which was kind of interesting. Yeah.
ooh, ooh, ooh,
Yeah.
ew. That's the kind of thing that I'm talking about. Just stuff you wouldn't have expected, and will get sensationalized because we have this instant media thing going on. Uranus is the planet of expect the unexpected, outside the box, the rebel genius, like the weird way of getting things done. And Uranus figures heavily as a joker on election day. So just weird things. Maybe we'll get a solar flare and it'll knock out part of the electric grid. What do you do about electronic voting then? Like really strange things. Also, just election interference, and that, folks, if your internet slows down, if your phone coverage isn't as good, just know, I think, that there are things going on in the background, extra layers of security being layered in, which actually you would know a little bit about, Jill. And I think that that's going to affect communications, and therefore other parties may say, oh, this party's interfering, or that party's interfering, or it's a scam, or it's a plot, or it's, they will add a drama factor to it. But I think basically there's a really good idea would be to slow everything down so we don't have hysterical responses.
I love we used to, when I was a kid, we'd be watching, I can't even think, Jake, I can't think of the guy's name. A big whiteboard on TV with the colors and the pushing on the board of the different, when the electoral college numbers are going to come in, and we'd have an answer within a few hours of polling closing in California, usually within a few minutes. But I don't think that's going to happen. And I think those days might be gone forever of us getting an answer right away. Yeah. So I would just encourage everyone, if you're scared, just understand this process is going to take a while. I did see, oddly enough, oddly enough, I was seeing like Trump dancing like he thought he'd won, and he didn't. you know, guys were showing me that, and I was like, "Are you showing me this so that I don't freak out when I see it?" Yeah.
I think even if every single state came up blue, you would see him dancing, because in his opinion, he's won. And that's part of the weirdness of this whole thing, is whatever facts are available, whatever data is brought forward, there will be somebody else who says that's incorrect. I don't believe that. And since I don't believe that, it's wrong. And that's how we have broken our own election system. It's broken. So what will happen is more evidence of that, and then we'll have to come up with something better.
Yeah, I would love to see an end to the electoral college, but I don't. I see them trying to get rid of it, but I don't know that they will. I don't know. I'm seeing them trying a lot of things after the next election, after this election,
I,
because of.
I yeah,
You
we
agree?
are. Yeah, there's yes, they're going to try a lot of things, just like after every election,
Yep.
every administration, new or incumbent, um, tries to do a lot of things. It'd be interesting to find out what the percentages of success,
That's a good point.
because
That's a very good
I was
point.
talking to somebody else about something that it seems like another tangent, but it's not. And we were talking about when we come up with programs in our businesses, things we want to offer people, and the program is really well received at the beginning, and you're like, whoa, I can't keep up. Well, I came up with a great thing. Everybody's
Totally
so
true.
excited.
Yep. Yep.
And then it's there for a while, and then it's not new anymore. And then it's not as popular. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So the point, whatever it is, it'll be whatever's new and in focus and in vogue, if you will, and then it won't be, and it'll be something else. And I think that's what happens, especially at the end of a presidential election. There's all this shiny, brand new this, that, and the other thing, and then it gets submitted to the machine of actual legislation and making it happen, and then it goes back to whatever the new baseline is.
I love what you're saying, and I love that you said that the January 6th. It was interesting because I do watch other people's videos because I kind of like how other people do things too, and I'm like, oh, I want to borrow some of that style, you know. But a lot of psychics are saying that they don't really think there's going to be the inauguration will be on January 6th. Some of the court stuff will still be going on. That does resonate, to be honest with you. I can't say for sure. I wasn't necessarily seeing that, and I don't want to like, oh yeah, I take that as mine when everybody else is saying it too. But I will say that if you find yourself, if that ends up not happening on January 6th, if it ends up being February 6th or something like that, I wouldn't be terribly surprised if that ends up being part of it. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. Is there anything on that you could see? I mean, I know the stars don't really spell out in, real clear letters. January 6th is for sure the day, like, is there?
It Let's talk about timelines and destiny paths.
Ooh, I
So
like that.
where I am right now, when I look down the timeline, things get handled and we have an inauguration on January
Okay.
6th. Okay.
Okay. I'll take
An
that.
inauguration.
Okay.
And I can't say it will be the only inauguration. So I think there's a lot of opportunity for some rather I hate to use the word scary, but scary changes. And
Mm-hmm.
so maybe we'll have two different inaugurations in 1 year. And that could be and I'm not saying I know exactly what will happen, but I'm kind of seeing that as a possibility. Like this happens and then that happens. And in the end, it all works out. But Jill, it could be that crazy of what
Yeah,
happens.
that is a
I,
very fair
yeah,
analogy.
I think right now, where I'm looking at it, inauguration happens on the 6th, and we go forward. And it's very dangerous because all of us have our own personal desires, and it's
Mm-hmm.
hard not to accidentally filter what we're looking at with that personal desire. Like, oh, I like this timeline. I want it to happen this way. And so that's why I'm very cautious, because I have my own desires. I really would like us to go ahead and have our brouhaha and our foo-foo stuff and all our craziness just be acted out. And then by the 6th, we kind of have like, okay, this is what we're going to do now, regardless of who wins. I'm not attaching it
That's
to who
fair.
wins. I
That's
would
fair.
like it to be that we're done with all the uproar to some degree by the 6th.
I love Jacqueline talked about that too. She was on like last week, and she brought up something that I think we kind of went by pretty quickly. But you bring up a good point in this. We do all have our own, our own intent, our own wishes, our own preferences, and it is hard when you do intuitive work not to filter it a little bit through and have that come through when you're talking. This is one of the reasons why, and I don't talk about this very often, but one of the reasons I do these videos is because I don't want my clients booking a session with me to find out who the next president's going to be, because, you know, I don't want them asking that question at their session where their spirit guides want to talk about what they need to be doing moving forward to live the most happy and wholesome life. Let's talk about those general questions on a forum like this, where the answer is going to be the same no matter who's asking it, right? But what is my life's purpose is a question that you want to answer privately, and you do that work too. So that's that's a great reason why we do videos like this, is so that we can answer the general public questions, out in this forum. And so when a client comes in for a sacred appointment, they want to know what their spirit guide has to say about their life and their purpose. That gets to be handled in a private way. I know that's kind of a tangent, but I just wanted to say that.
It's really valid. And I would like to take that into the election. Whatever happens, whoever
That's very good.
wins, whatever craziness occurs, it's not about you. You need to take care of you. And that was some of the notes I made for today's talk, was around we got to get our personal practices together. What calms you down? Create your social media budget. I'm only going to be accessing these kind of feeds for X number of minutes. I'm saying minutes, not even hours.
I love
minutes
that.
a
That's
day.
brilliant.
You really, put parental controls on yourself.
Totally. Love it. Oh my God, Mara, that's such brilliant advice. I totally agree. 100%.
And this is in the United States. This is that we're entering the holiday season. Step back into what you would like to have your holiday season traditions be. The power of community is when we feel connected. How do we feel connected? By sharing practices, experiences, special occasions together. So pull into that. This is medicine. This is energy that can help soothe the crazed one within, who's freaking out because of all these scary things that are coming at us, and we need to come back to ourselves, connect to your community, like you said, hug your pets, hug your kids, and whatever your personal practices are. I was listening. Want me to give you one?
Yeah, of course.
Really simple, really easy. This is not news. We've known about this for a while, but if you and I did it last night in class. I did it. I had a dozen people. We were all together, and I had them do this for 2 minutes, and I counted it out. Breathe 5 breaths per minute. It changes your brain waves. It changes something really special in your heart energy field. And it literally takes you into a different gear of awareness. So if you are stressing out, if you are, worshiping at the altar of anxiety, if you are feeling like hijacked, overtaken by the world's circumstances, shut it all down, light a candle, and breathe for 2 minutes. 5 breaths per minute. That's basically 5.5, 6 seconds per breath. And you can Google that, and you can find videos. You can go to the various music platforms. They all have some sort of a music that plays that for you. So you don't even have to count or look at a clock. You can put one of those on, close your eyes, and breathe for a couple minutes. That's one of my big recommendations for people to get through this insanity.
I love that. I love that. Speaking of insanity, do you want to talk about the war energy that's going on with Mars?
Well, we've been talking about the whole time, because what is war? It's conflict.
Conflict.
It's two things, that opposing forces, at least two things, but we're just going to think of it that way. Opposing forces. Yes. Mars. Here's the thing. Mars is a big influencer right now because it's in a sign it doesn't like. It's in its shadow. It's going to be retrograding. So it's going to be in Cancer, all the feels sign, for quite some time. I don't have the dates for you right now. I'll give them to you. We can put them in the notes. But as Mars retrogrades in Cancer, all this material we're going over now, we're going to visit again. And that's why the inauguration date is very important because that's around the time when Mars will oppose Pluto again in its retrograde. So when we're talking about the war energy, Mars wants to be aggressive and get things done and move forward and is the sign of it belongs in the sign of Aries, which is the god of war. And it's considered a malefic. It's a personal planet that's a malefic, which means it's bringing out some of the ugliness inside of you. I mean, that's real broad, but we'll just put it that way. Pluto is considered a well, it's the planet of fate and your destiny and how you're changing things or resisting change. So Pluto is pulling out that war energy, like, okay, you want to be peaceful, you're gonna have to deal with your war energy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I love what you're bringing up here. It's interesting because right at the time of this recording, obviously we talked about this was on 10:30. They are there. It looks like there could be some peace in the Middle East. It's certainly calmed down a little bit. Are you saying it could escalate again around this time, or how do you view that with it? I'm asking you to make a prediction here, but is there anything in the astrology that would suggest that's going to stick, or that it's going to come around again, or what would the astrology suggest?
There are definitely forces that do not want peace in the Middle East.
I know, you can see it. I can think of one person in particular who does not want peace, even though he says he does. Yes, absolutely.
Flexing their muscles.
Their ego.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Well, that's where their muscle is their ego.
Yeah, there you go. Right
it's
there.
certainly not in the heart. So,
no, it's not. I would agree.
So I love that news happens to be flashing across your screen while we're talking. So I don't want to take away from the joy of it. Do I think it's really going to happen in the next week? No.
Yeah.
I mean, if it does, then that means somebody made some fabulous compromise in the background that we'll hear about later. Do you know what I mean? Machinations. We are in the sign of Scorpio. Yes, it's that little thing like that. We're in the sign of Scorpio where there's layers upon layers upon layers. We're seeking the truth, but we have to swim through the murky waters of deceit. And on one side, I mean, I adjusted a shamanic weather, people. If you
oh, those are great too.
Hashtag shamanic weather. I just did one called Scorpio Sting New Moon, which is on Dia de Muertos. It is on the 1st of November. So that it's just Scorpio is the sign of death, and rebirth. It's in its darkness. It's the scorpion, and its venom is deadly. But in its light and bright, I've moved through my shadow into my light side. It is the phoenix rising from the flames. So, could we have the phoenix rise from the flames of the disasters of the Middle East? I would love to see that. That would be amazing. So, I see strong Scorpio influence. I see strong manipulation and agendas over what would really work. Do you see what I mean?
No, I agree. Agendas and manipulation is definitely the vibe I get, and that there's a bigger picture at play. And then when people find out what was really going on, they're going to be super, super pissed because all these people died for an agenda that nobody else would have been okay with. I'm
there right now. I mean, it's that way right now. It really is, and it's not something you or I can like solve sitting here talking about it so much as putting light on it, so people. I mean, it's used to polarize us. People on the other side of the planet and what's happening to them is used to polarize and manipulate us, and that's very Scorpionic. So.
Well, no, and loving what you said about how it brings that, this conflict within, hearing you say about conflict within the world, I'm also thinking about conflict within yourself. So you have something that you want, or maybe you don't want it, but it goes against the family of lineage, the things that they want for you. I'm just kind of, in what you're saying, I'm thinking about the clients who are coming to me who want to do something new, but they're back to, well, I need to pay, I need to make $8,000 a month, or else, my kids are going to be pissed at me because I have to pull them out of private school, whatever's going on. I mean, I make it sound like I have a lot of wealthy clients, but you know, I do. Okay, I do. Um, but you know, I can hear the conflict in what you're saying. I'm wondering if the conflict is showing up with people, the conflict between what I want to do and what's expected of me. Is that kind of what you're talking about, or how would that manifest on a personal level?
Exactly, just like you said. How am I choosing my ego or am I choosing my
Ooh,
conscience?
good way of putting it. Ego versus conscious. Yeah, that's a better way of
Yes. Am
saying
I
it. Absolutely.
spiritual? Am I a spiritual person? Or am I just mouthing it? Or am I joining a cause rather than really exploring my truth? Yeah, I ask questions like that. uh,
That's a
because
great question.
these are what's on the table for us now. What I'm doing, Jill, I didn't mention this before. I think I should. We've already talked about how there's an insidious secret society, if you will, kind of manipulation going on behind the scenes of all this very public discourse that is unfortunately not necessarily highly intelligent, but definitely loud.
Yeah,
so
would agree with that.
so what I'm doing, and a friend of mine, Billy, she came up with the idea on her own, separate from me. We both had a very similar idea. We merged them because, in the end, conflict and war only ends when we come to a new resolution, a new agreement point. So we made an agreement and we've been sharing it with all of our people who are in the woo woo world. So, like, people who do the Reiki, people who are I'm a Reiki master, shamanic practitioners. We're slowly rolling it out. So they know that we're going to invite everybody to on November 3rd at 2 p.m. do whatever their healing treatment is that they want to do for the election process. We're not aiming it at a person. We're not aiming at a result. We're aiming it at smoothing over all of the rough edges, all of the pain and injury and wounding that this election process is causing, and probably, it's going to continue right through to
Yeah,
the
I
5th
think
and
it will.
beyond.
Yeah.
So we're starting it. We're doing it on the 3rd of November, which is a Sunday at 2 p.m. And then a week later on the 10th of November at 2 p.m. And this is Pacific time. So we're inviting people to synchronize with that time and then just send healing. It's not the same as plotting bad things to happen to
Yeah,
people
that's quite a
or
bit different energy.
it is meant to balance that highest and best good of all concerned. May this process be as gentle as possible. May those who've been adversely affected be healed. May this best result come forth. And all of the damage, and from doing energy work, it's not just at that moment. We can flow it back and we can flow it forward. And I know that sounds crazy, and you guys just
No, his
want
time
to.
isn't. When you and I both talk to spirit guides, right? They
Yeah.
don't have watches. They don't.
Mm-mm.
Everything's happening at once for them. So when we're looking at the time that way, and forward and backward, and please heal whatever result of this is, what the collateral is of this situation, and the highest and best good for all is really what we always want for everything anyway.
I would hope so. When we're in that
Yeah.
place of spirit and conscious instead of ego and fear, that's where we're at. If we're
I
in
want to
ego
end
and
it.
fear, we're pushing other people out of the lifeboat.
I'm going to end it on that because I love that spirit and conscience versus ego and fear is kind of what this election has sort of come back to.
Mhm.
And, you know, I would encourage everyone to work on their own spiritual practices, work on eating better food, getting more exercise, because the most difficult thing that you could do for yourself is find yourself in the medical system, the American medical system, because you didn't take care of your body. Uh, and play with your dogs and your cats, and just know that whatever's happening, you've done your part if you voted, and you'll have to leave the rest to the process that plays out. What would you say, Mara?
I agree. This is not about arguing with people and trying to prove your point and make yourself right. This is about
Mm-hmm.
how do you live your life? What is the quality of your life? This is about, we have this time of year with all these beautiful traditions that we can explore, reconnect with, When we have community singing at a higher vibration, it helps others find that vibration.
I love
So
it.
that is what I'm inviting. There's been a lot of discord and out of tune instruments. let's bring the music of life back.
I love it. I love it. So with that, we're going to close. Mara, how can they reach you? I will absolutely put your link in the description, but it's always helpful to hear people say, what is your web address?
Go to maraclearspring.com and you'll find pages and pages of stuff.
Yeah, good stuff.
I'm on Facebook, Mara Clearspring. I'm on Instagram, Mara Clearspring. Try to keep it simple.
I know somebody thought ahead. You got all of those before they could be taken.
There's a lot of other things I didn't think ahead on, but at least I stuck. Consistency is not my highest quality.
I love it. It's all part of the fun. It's all good.
It is.
Well,
yep.
Thanks guys for showing up. I appreciate the kind words in the comments, and I appreciate the love that's around this community. And thank you for continuing your support. I very much appreciate it. Please like and subscribe. And if it resonates, and if it doesn't, it doesn't hurt my feelings any if you don't. That's fine. But we love you guys, and thanks so much, and do your part. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you all.
Bye.